Okay, guys, it's time for some practical training, space management. It sounds like we're going far away from where we are, but we are we're actually down to earth. Um, a few weeks ago, I think now we introduced a new module inside STP called Spaces, and this gives us the possibility to work more with yeah places, campus, um, and all of those kind of things. Um, uh, so we thought that it was a good time to have our first training of the year. I think we had a few trainings last year. We did some self-service portal customization, we had some change workflow training. We did some other trainings. I can't really remember now, but it was a few we did last year. Normally we kind of do, trainings personally where we hold trainings, but it's been kind of a different years. So we try to have the smaller trainings where we feel like there's a topic or there's a new feature that needs some a bit of more attention. And usually to help me out with this, I have he's actually on this side in my camera, Santos, all the way from Chennai. He will try to go through this, walk you through this, what it is, how you can create, what the benefits are. And if you miss something and if you don't understand something, please ask us some questions. I think we will go around 45 minutes, something like that, Santos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, something like that. We take it slowly and easy and go through all the configurations that we can possibly do. But just feel free to ask all the questions. And this will be held in English. The reason is pretty simple. We're kind of having customers all around Nordics, and both me and Santos Icelandic is kind of bad, even if we have been working with those customers. So that's the reason. But yeah, feel free to ask us questions. My name is Eric. I work at Inuit for those who don't know me, but I'm sure pretty much everyone has seen me now. Um, that's pretty much it from me. Hans Santos, I handle over to you. You can do some small introduction and then we start training.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Eric. Hi, everyone. Good day. I'm Santosh Maivan, Manager of Customer Success from ServiceDesk Plus team. And today I'm here to conduct a webinar on space management. I hope you're all doing good, staying safe, and it's turned out to be a really good year for most of us. And we are continuing to explore what this year unfolds for us. So I'm so happy to meet you all again. And I'm going to start the session. And as Eric said, please go ahead, ask any questions you want during the session, as well as we're going to have a Q&A at the end. You can ask any questions and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So to make the video a lot more easier, I'm just going to switch off the camera and I'm going to start my screen. So now that you're all able to see my screen, I hope everything is clear. You're all able to hear me and see my screen. So what is space management? So long, what we have been doing is that we have been exploring the ITSM functionalities of ServiceDesk Plus, and I've discussed on how to leverage its features and functionalities for your business. With the evolution of enterprise service management, and that too in ServiceDesk Plus, we have extended and advanced our capabilities beyond the ITSM component or the ITSM realm into the other departments, mainly including the facilities department. So this helps the facilities management teams to track the facilities activities or the changes, maintain and manage their operations and functions based on the time-tested IT service management best practices and workflows. So this is what we are aiming today. All right. Now, we are introducing the space management for the facilities service desk instance. So as I stated before, we have ITSM, we have the help desk that we all have been using so far. And with that in motion, we are now introducing the space management for your facilities instance of your service desk. So what happens when you use the space management, where businesses can create and manage multiple campus locations and structures of their business. So if you're a large enterprise, you're split across the globe, you wanted to track your campus and buildings, you can do that along with their segmented floors, rooms available within each of the campus. And inside each buildings or floors or rooms, you will have amenities and facility services that needs to be tracked. We have documents, layouts, plans, licenses, and other attachments for each of the areas that needs to be tracked. Also, the relevant facilities, assets, or the services for each flow or structure needs to be mapped and tracked, and also the issues. So these are all the benefits that the facilities management offers the business. Now, what we are going to do is that we are going to get familiar with the terminologies and definitions that we have. So what we have is that in the facilities management, right in ServiceDesk Plus, so we are in ServiceDesk Plus, and what you're looking at is a very customized, fancy self-service portal or the ESM portal. And I'm now heading into the facilities help desk. So this is one of the instances that you create using ESM. Now within this instance, as you can see, I've again customized my instance portal, like the self-service portal, and I have spaces. So in the space management, you have campuses. So as I said before, if your organization has one location or multiple locations, and if you have those campuses that you wanted to add and track, you can do that. And each campus will have a lot of those structures or buildings or non-building spaces like open parking lots. So you can track them as well with this campus. Now, each of those buildings will have a lot of floors. So you can track floors, the rooms and spaces within each of these floors. You can track them. The best part is that you can mark their status if the particular floor is active, which means it is ready to occupy. You can define layouts of that. You can say if how many is what is the capacity of it and how many of them have been occupied. All right. And you could also add a lot of facility services that you want on that building. And you get a space tree. Basically, you would like get to know what is this campus and what are the structures of the buildings that campus has, what are the floors, and in that floor, how many rooms do you have, rooms or spaces. So this is how we normally have created this space management in ServiceDesk Plus. And what you see right now are the terminologies that everyone needs to be aware about so that moving forward, we would know what a floor refers to, what a structure refers to, and what a campus refers to. Now that we have got into the terminologies of what we offer in the space management, now we need to know what is the benefits the facilities team gain by managing building and structures. All right. So what basically happens is that when you are managing all these structures, buildings, floors, and rooms, when you go to a specific structure or a floor, you can basically create an incident or a service ticket. So you can report an issue such as a broken glass or a sprinkler leak, or you can create a service request saying you want to add a projector or whatsoever. All right. And when you look into the associations, of any of these spaces for that matter, you get to associate the relevant assets. You can map the assets for each of these spaces. Then you can assign the facility services for each of these spaces. So when you click on the facility services, what service this particular space has, you can manage them over there. You can document or record all the space related documentations. So when you go into a specific campus or a structure, and when you head to the documents section, you can create groups of documents and you can mark their associations over there. All right. And also all the amenities of that space. So say, for instance, if I take any space for that matter, you can track all the amenities of that space within that particular space. So these are all the benefits that you get when for the facilities team when they manage the spaces in their organization. All right, what's next? An effective space management system can help the facilities team to ensure business continuity, especially during pandemic or natural calamities. Now that we have all seen what the past gave us, we've learned our lessons on how to adapt and change accordingly. So, what happens is that during an unfortunate situation, the facilities management solution can help business to stay afloat, to en route management services to get on track using different measures, such as you could see over here, you could track all the office locations, like the campuses, the structures based on different sites. So you could also just go to the campus and see which site they are located. All right, you could get a list of all of these in one go. All right, what this helps later, you would know the area that has been area it's occupied, what's the occupancy level, how much it's been occupied. So this helps in preventing users from conglomerating in one place. Then track critical services such as data centers. So you could like filter out from a floor level or from a room and space level. And as you can see, you could like view data based on the photos or list view, or you could like switch the view. Basically, you could like quickly track, all right, what are the critical server rooms or locker rooms or business critical spaces to delegate workforce. Because even though you're going to shift for a pandemic or due to a natural calamity, you wanted to reroute the services. You don't want just people to come and clog in one place. So you could like get the critical services easily and you can track. And again, you could also track all other non-critical services that you have. That's why we have the facility services, which has been mapped to different spaces. You can basically track what are all the services that you have, what are critical, what are non-critical. And again, you also would know who is the responsible person or the supervisor for each of these spaces. So this helps the teams to understand who needs to be contacted if in case there is a critical situation. So this helps during a pandemic or a natural calamity or a disaster, how the teams could react, how they could manage and control their organization necessities using the space management. Now, we've all seen the terminologies that we offer and how these terminologies put together with the workflow to helps the organization to run a pandemic situation or during a calamity. Now let's go ahead and look into the components, the individual line items or the components that is required to configure something as what we have seen right now using the space management. All right, so let's take a quick look at it. So this is a very simple and easy to configure module. You go to the admin tab, and this is released in version 13,000. All right. So just so you know, the admin is totally changed, and you could change the color theme and so on. So I'm just going to go to space. I'm just going to try space management, and as you could see here, there's a lot of these customizations. All right. So I'm just going to go right into the amenities. So in space management on the admin, I have a lot of these where I could create amenities that is required, which is basically nothing but what services or what are the amenities that the users could utilize, which could be like coffee machine. So if you are a hotel or if you have a small area of workspace and you have certain amenities that users could make use of, like cookies, or like they have the first aid box, whatever, you could add those amenities over here. Again, these are elements that you're going to use in different elements of the space, starting from a campus, floor, rooms, so on. Criticalities. Now, it's important that each and every space has to be tracked on the critical location. So you don't want someone to walk into a data center or an electrical room or a janitor room. You need to track them, and based on certain industries, some places are used for storing garbage or toxic chemicals and so on. You can add the criticalities, which is again going to be a component that you're going to use in the space management. Layouts. We have different layouts that we are supporting right now. This is basically to understand how that room can be, how is the room going to be segmented. If you're going to define a space, which is a room, and you wanted to like have a layout for it, you can go ahead and add different layouts. And space status is somewhat similar to your request status to understand if the space is active, which is ready to use, or if it's under maintenance, or if it's under construction, if it's inactive because you need to do some maintenance on an active space, you can do that. And you could create like space area units that you want, which could be used on the space templates. So these are all different amenities, uh, criticalities, layouts that you could use as a part of the customization part of space management. Now I'm heading to the templates and forms. If I go to templates and forms, there are a lot of templates we have. So I'm starting from the campus. Now, all of us are not new to how a template looks like. So here is what the default template looks like for campus. All right. You could add additional fields. We have a lot of these additional fields. You can add them. And this is an area field that we have added by default. So this helps you to capture the area of that particular locality. And you have a unit that you could define. So this is a hard-coded field. Again, you have the amenities, the supervisors, which are going to be like technicians that you could map over here. All right, the total capacity. So you have all these fields, and on top of that, you could add more fields along with the section. So this is on campus. Likewise, when you go to structures, all right, you can add a new structure, and basically you can say, is it a building or a non-building? So what is the difference between non-building and building? If it's an open parking lot or if it's an open garage, which is not a structure raised, which has floors and rooms, you can have it as a non-building structure. So you could just categorize it based on building or non-building structures, create and configure the templates. And as I said before, the area is a field which is hard-coded, which has some metrics following that. Just like as how you do the campus, the structure, we have it for floor and rooms. It's all the same. There's not much difference on them. So you have all these data. So in the rooms, you have two elements which is called partitionable and if it is a floating. Partitionable rooms could be adjoining rooms which you could like separate or bring it together as a single room. So that's for marking. And when you say if it's a floating capacity, then the actual data, which is like when you give the actual occupancy level, since it's floating, it would not say how much it's left or how much it's been consumed because it's floating. So if you say 5,000 people can be accommodated in a huge room, and if you say it's a floating, so you don't need to actually calculate the value because people are just going to come in and leave. If it's not floating, then whatever you've defined as the capacity will be reflected. Now, this is one different element that we have in the room template. Then we have facility services. Now, what is facility services? Well, you could like build a template, all right? And along with this, you can add additional fields. These facility services are going to be the services users can ask for within that particular space. Now, amenities are going to be those small offerings that users could pick and use. And facility service are items or services that are available for that particular location or that space, which users could ask for. So that's why so this is the main difference between amenities and facility services. And for facility services, you could add more additional fields just to describe what that service is all about. Now, if it is a paid Wi-Fi someone has to use, and there's a code and there's something that they have to follow as a procedure, you could add it as a facility service. And likewise, if it's a large campus and users are allowed to book an electric scooter or an electric car for a trip around the campus, then you could add this as a facility service and define what data it needs to be. So users could raise a ticket and ask for these facility services. So this is how the facility services and the amenities can be distinguished between each other. Now, we've discussed all the individual line item components that is required to put together an effective facility services. All right. So what we are going to do right now is that we are going to go right into the space management and take a quick tour on how the data that we have all discussed together can be put in simple terms. Now, when I add a new campus, again, get a name, all right? So I give the name. So I give a name and then I choose the status. If the space is an active one, you can add it. Or if there's something that's not active, but it's going to be active in the future. You could do under maintenance or construction and set it to active. Likewise, you have the area. So what's the area of this place? So it's around like 6,000 square meters or 60,000 square meters. You can add them. The capacities are listed over here. Now, who is going to be the supervisor? Paul is the supervisor of the place. Amenities. So again, whatever you've added in the admin section is going to be listed. You can just choose those amenities. Already, these are amenities that you don't need approval because it's there. You're just going to pick and use. But also, you can also define the space criticality, how critical the space is. All right. So if it's going to be a janitor room, it's going to have chemicals on them. So you could like mark create a criticality as chemicals that could be used. All right. If it is an electrical room, it's going to have shock challenges on it. So, or the power challenges on it. So you could create a criticality and you could choose it accordingly. Now, this way you create a structure, and if needed, you could also add images to it. So as we just saw, you could also just add images, and these images would be added as an icon as well. So this way, you have the capacity and all the details mentioned, the amenities, the associations and details on the right hand side. Now, what you do is that from the campus, you would add a structure. You could either add a non-building structure or a building structure. When I say building structure, I would go ahead and add the details. So I'm just adding the structure, or I could say the main office, and status is active. Again, I can add the area, define the unit. I can choose amenities, criticalities. Likewise, I can do the images and I can click on save. Now, when I'm creating a structure, what are the child configurations it's going to have? Is it going to have floors and rooms or just a room? So if it's one floor and it's just going to have a room, you can just go with rooms. Or, so if the structure is just going to have a single room, you can have it that way. If the structure is going to have floors and rooms, then you can choose accordingly. So this way I've created a structure which basically consists of floors and rooms. Now, if I go into the structure, as you could see me, the tree view just helped me to navigate and open the structure into a new tab. And right here, I'm into the Netherlands main office. So I'm going to add the floor, and I'm going to give a floor name, and I'm going to say production floor. I can choose the status as active. Again, it's under Netherlands campus. Building is Netherlands main office, and over there it's a production floor that I'm adding. And I'm adding the unit. Again, you have supervisors, activities, amenities, and criticality that you could use. All right. Now, what I've done is that I've created floor within a structure, and the structure is created on a campus. Now, finally, when I head into the particular floor I've created, I could do rooms and spaces. So I could just create a new room. And in this room, I could say, medical room, and area is like 500 square meter, and all the grayed out data, it's like it has a campus, building, floor, and it has a room. It's partitionable, yes, so which may be like you could bring it together or have them as separate rooms. You could choose who the supervisor is going to be, Tanya Adams, and then is it a floating capacity? If I say yes, as I said before, the data or the capacity that you add on the room will not be reflected down the line. If you say it's not a floating capacity, then obviously we should have the capacity values populated. Likewise, what is the shape of the room that you want? Remember, we talked about the room layout. You can choose what layout you want and click on save. So this is basically how you create a structure, sorry, a campus, a structure. Then within the structure, you can have floors and rooms. All right. So this is how you create different buildings. the best part is that, as we discussed before, while you're creating it or while you're analyzing it, if you need to create an incident or request a service extensions, you can go ahead and do that. You can copy the space, all right? And then you have a whole lot of options that you could choose. So under the associations, as I said before, you need to associate data in order for you to list the associated requests. So if I'm just going to create a new incident or a service from here, I could go ahead and, sorry, I don't have any template. So basically you could create an incident or service request from here. You can associate assets that you already have. Then again, facility services, whatever facility services you have, you could associate. Then again, likewise, whatever documents you add, you could also add the documents. The best part is that you could give in a name, all right? And you can add as much as attachments you want. So one thing I've noticed at Zoho is that we have a lot of these space management activities that's happening, and I've seen our developers were like just having these spaces as they were like just storing the rooms and all the other data, the plumbing documentation, the fire approval, the safety approval, the fire extinguishing renewal approvals, the building wiring line, all of them are just stored in different folders. But what you see over here is a cumbersome output. You have all these data that could be stored at different levels, all right? So this is how we were able to track our data earlier, and now with the space management, this just gives a lot of space or a lot of segment to track these data, all right? So the point here is that when users are going to use the space management system, all the documents can be stored right in one place. So that is the best part of this particular space management operation. Sorry. And not just that, all the associations can be tracked. You can manipulate or manage the data. So this way, what you do is that you are adding all the spaces, and in the future down the line, these spaces helps you not only to get a tree view or an understanding, it also helps you to understand the actual capacity, the occupied capacity, the number of floors it has, the number of rooms, and you could just like make use of these documented layouts to bridge, separate, and view the data. So the space management offers a whole lot of opportunity. It offers a whole space of data management where you could like add the different layouts, add relevant documentations, map the facilities assets to the spaces, all right? So these are like most of these operations that you could make use of using the space management in ServiceDesk Plus. So this is a really short demo and this is a really small feature. So I hope you were able to understand and follow what the space management offers. So I'm ready to take any questions right now. So please go ahead and post your questions and I'll be more than happy to help you.
Okay, can you hear me, Santos?
Yeah, I can hear you, Eric.
That's good. There's coming a few questions actually. So let me see here. So I think they wonder, but you stop sharing your screen, just so you know.
Oh, sorry.
I try to understand it, but I want to know. I think you show, the question is, you show that you can associate assets to rooms, but can assets be linked from asset management module to a room? Kind of the opposite. Do you understand?
IT assets, you mean?
I don't think necessarily IT assets. It could be any type of asset. I'm in the asset module, and I think I want to say that this is mapped to this room instead of just adding state. I think that's the question.
Understood. So for now, the asset management association to a space from within a space. And we do have plans to bring a lot of enhancements to it. So I would make a note of this requirement and share it with the team. For now, it's just one way.
Okay. I think maybe if I was wrong, you can write. Uh,
But
write
again, I got the
clumsy.
question. I
Yeah.
got the question
Yeah.
that they're looking for. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any plan to implement test spaces in other instances like IT? Spaces or floor plans would be very useful.
So yes, the space management has to work tightly with the IT instance. The reason being is that the IT has a lot of assets which is going to be shared with different departments. So if I'm going to take a conference room, the projector, the printer, the copier, the computer that's going to be there, the external monitor, they are assets of IT department which is on a specific space. So is the data center. It's a room that belongs or managed by the facilities team, but whatever goes in there is also shared and managed by the IT team. So these are like kind of questions that we do come across, and also for the resource booking. So when you have a room, anyone from the HR or IT team should be able to book a room for meetings and so on. So we have these plans in our roadmap, and it's just that matter of how we are going to implement it. So it should be with the base skeleton available, we should be able to plan and implement this. So yes, we do have plans on this.
But as of now, it's only in the facility
Space
module, right?
management and facilities. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Uh, let me see here. When assets are moved between spaces, is there a history record of the move?
So right now there is no movement of assets between spaces. It's just basically you're associating the asset. You're not moving the asset from one space to the other. So move is a totally different concept which we haven't implemented.
Okay. But I think they will track some type of in history that something has been edited.
The
Or
history is just gonna have the track of what's been done on that space, but asset movement is altogether a different concept.
okay. Okay. Um, is there any plan, or is the space integrated with the CMDB? Yeah,
So
I think that's the question. Or integrated,
okay.
or is it useful, or yeah.
Space management to be integrated with CMTP. Yes. So again, as already said, there is a larger plan that's down the line where we need to do a lot of integrations between the space management and the other modules. So again, these are like kind of the initial announcements that we did, but we would be doing a lot more.
Okay, that is cool. Um, I think that was pretty much all the questions I got as of now.
Perfect.
That is,
So I'm also making a note of it,
yeah,
and I will share with the team.
yeah, please do. I mean, this is a recently uh, released new module, so it's good that we get some trainings and we start to get some feedback. So the guys who wanted to try it out, please send us an email. We can make sure to give you a license so you're able to test it out in an instance if you like. We are happy to help you out also, right? if there is any questions or if there is any doubts or whatever, please feel free to call us. I also forgot to mention that this webinar or this small training will also be recorded. So after this session, Marcus will probably send out to you guys with a link where you can watch it afterwards. And if you would like to send it across in your organization, you can just do that. So if you feel like this could be something for us to track usability over our places and campuses and structures to provide better service. Yeah, I don't think there was any more questions. So I guess everyone is happy of the presentation. Thank you so much, Santos.
Thank you.
And take good care. Hopefully we catch up with some new smaller training parts in the future, of course, and see if we can catch up in Sweden soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and patience. You all have a good day, and we catch up soon with the new webinar. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.